Hello everyone, my name is Ben Crone and in this burst I'm going to be talking to you about the Pedestrian Run Builder tool. Currently in Oasys Primer there are a number of tools to help streamline the pedestrian impact workflow. A typical workflow is as follows. We would take an input model and we could use the pedestrian markup script to determine the different impact zones and the different impact locations for a given regulation. Once we know those impact points, we could use the multiple model build tool to position the impactors and to create the individual analysis files. Those analysis files would be analyzed using LS-DYNA, the points processed, and for the head impact load cases, we could use the Hick area calculator to further mine those results. We may then make modifications to our model to improve the results, and at this stage we would resubmit those analyses into LS-DYNA. The Pedestrian Run Builder is a new tool that fits into this feedback loop when we've modified a model and want to resubmit it into LS-DYNA. And the reason we've created this tool is because duplicating many models in one go is not as straightforward as you might think. For example, we have the folder A001, that's our top level directory, and in there contains a set of analyses from a baseline sweep. Each folder represents an individual impact, and in each folder there is a keyword that we would have submitted to LS-DYNA. Each keyword in turn references a master include file. And off the back of A001's results, we may have modified our master keyword, but we need to duplicate this entire folder structure for resubmission into LS-DYNA. So we need to create A002, and inside A002 we need to reproduce all of those subfolders, the keywords within those subfolders, and then we need to replace the master file reference in each one of those keywords. And the goal of the Pedestrian Run Builder tool is to streamline the process of creating those new directories and those new keyword files. You can find it under the Safety and Pedestrian menus in Primer. And when you open it, the first thing you'll see is a little pop-up that asks you to read in a list file. This is the same list file that would have been created for you by the Primer build tool. If you're not familiar with this, the format is shown on the screen there. It's a simple text file, and each line of the file is a reference to a keyword. There's also some variables in this file, and the ones that we're particularly interested in as part of the Run Builder tool are the X, Y, and Z coordinates for each impact point. Once the list file has been read, you'll be presented with a menu that looks similar to the one on the screen. It's split into two halves. On the right hand side we have a blue square for each of the impacts read from the list file. Those impacts are arranged based on the X and Y coordinates from the file. On the left hand side we have several inputs and some tools. At the top there we have an input for the old include file. So this would be a drop down that's populated by the include file references as found in the first of the keywords present in the list file. And the idea here is that you would select the include file that you wish to change as part of your model modification. So in this example, we've identified the file master001. Underneath that, you have a text box where you can input the new version for that include file. So here it's master002. We would then select impact points that we wish to reproduce. And there's a number of ways that this can be done. They can be selected manually by clicking on those squares individually from within the menu, where a blue square would represent a point that is being reproduced and a grey square represents a point that is being ignored. This could be a little bit tedious though, so there are some extra tools that allow us to select multiple points in one go. These are the points of interest tools. And the way they work is that we would identify a point of interest using the inputs for X coord and Y coord towards the bottom part of the menu. They're shown in the GUI as that red cross. We can then identify corridors, a given X or Y distance from our point of interest, and any impact within those corridors will be selected for reproduction. That's what you can see there as that sort of cross shape on the screen. Additionally, we can define a radius, in this example 250 millimeters, about our point of interest, and anything identified within that radius is also selected for reproduction. Sometimes it's useful to see where these lie in the context of your model. So for that, we have a Show in Model button, which will highlight in graphics space those impact points, where green are points that are being reproduced and red are points that are being ignored. Once you're happy with your selection of new impact points, you can create them by clicking the Generate button. When you do that, you'll be prompted to enter a new study name. So that's the top level directory in which all of the impact directories will be created. So in this example, it was A002. Once you've input that, the following process will occur. An A002 directory will be created at the same level as the previous A001 directory. Within A002, we'll find a subdirectory for each of the impact points we've selected. The keyword files from the A001 folder will be copied to the relevant A002 subdirectory folder. Once copied, the old include file reference will be replaced with the new include file reference. So in our example, it was master001.key, and that was being converted into master002.key. Additionally, new list files are produced that can then be used for submission and/or post-processing. So in this latest release, we've introduced a new tool for further streamlining the pedestrian impact workflow. The tool uses existing list files to duplicate sweeps of analyses, replacing include references at the same time. The example I've shown was for head impacts, but it's also suitable for leg impacts. And that concludes this burst. I hope you found it interesting. If you've got any further questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch via one of the means shown on the slide there. I hope you have a great day and enjoy the rest of the conference.